Auto blogs are blogs that run on autopilot. They're basically self-populating blogs and a rapid way of setting up a network of sites. They're really useful for you to use for short-term income. Now, auto blogs are very powerful. They're very easy to set up, and if you do them right, you can roll out an auto blog in 5 to 10 minutes. You know, in an hour you could set up 5 or 6 sites easily, perhaps even more, depending on how quick you are with them. So you can really do some very good things with auto blogs. You do have to be aware that some search engines will consider auto blogs to be spam, but set up properly, and as we're going to talk about in this program, you'll be able to create a network of auto blogs that will last and run well for you. As long as you've got the right tools, an auto blog is easy to do. Without the right tools, you're going to struggle to make money with auto blogs. I mean, you can set them up and you can get them going, but you really want to have the right tools. And what we're going to do in this video training program is show you the right tools that you need to set up your auto blog. Now, typically an auto blog is based on WordPress. Now, obviously it's free to use, which is one of the big reasons to use it. It's good for SEO. It comes with lots of different plugins. It's very easy to use, and it's basically perfectly designed for auto blogs. Now, there are other blogging platforms out there that you could use if you wanted to, but they don't have the same functionality that WordPress does. WordPress is really advantageous, and if you have Fantastico, then you can install it with a couple of clicks. Same with Simple Scripts if your web host has that. So WordPress is the platform of choice here. Now, the whole aim of the game is that once you set the sites up, they run without your manual input. You don't have to do anything with the sites except set them up and let them going. Once they get going, then you're fine, and your site will run, and it will basically climb up the search engines and run itself pretty much on autopilot. It's a very powerful method of earning money, and it's a good way of setting up a good passive income stream. So they're a good additional stream of income, another way for you to earn money. You know, you may have membership sites, other AdSense sites, and so on, but auto blogs are a really good way for you to get going and make money. So what are we going to talk about in this program? We're going to start by talking about exactly what auto blogs are. We've had a brief introduction to them, but we're going to go into more detail about what they are and how to use them. We're going to talk about why they're profitable and why they can provide you with an excellent stream of income. They're very powerful, very good, so we just want to talk about those. We're going to talk about what to watch out for when you are creating auto blogs as well. Now, there's a number of pitfalls, a number of possible problems. So what we want to do is we want to talk about those and make you aware of the potential issues that you are facing with auto blogs and how you can get round them and create successful auto blogs that sit there and earn money for you and aren't delisted or deleted or otherwise removed. I'm going to show you how to install and configure an auto blog. Now, obviously that's not something that perhaps you know how to do, so we're going to show you exactly how to do that. We're going to demonstrate some auto blogging software, so I'm going to show you some of the plugins you can use for WordPress and how they can help you to set up a really good looking and powerful auto blog, and ultimately that's what you're after achieving. We're also going to show you a couple of special plugins. These are particularly good plugins, and they can be used to help you monetize your blog, so they're very powerful, very good. So I'm quite excited to show you those. We're also going to show you some tips for succeeding with auto blogs. Now, obviously, as I said, you can set up an auto blog, anyone can set them up, but to do well with them, you need some insider information. I mean, you can work it out through trial and failure if you want. That's your prerogative, but in order to really learn how to succeed with auto blogs, you can learn from someone who's been there and done it and made those mistakes. So you can speed up your learning curve by listening to these tips and implementing them on your websites. And of course, there's going to be much more. Now, an auto blog network can make you an awful lot of money. It will run on autopilot, so there's nothing for you to do with it. And of course, you can have options, down the line. Once they're making money, you can always sell them on or anything like that. So there's lots and lots of different choices you can make here with the auto blogs for how you earn from it. Now you can earn from affiliate commissions, you can earn from AdSense commissions, you can earn from any other type of advertising you want. So we're going to go into a lot more detail now. So I want to start going into more detail about what an auto blog is and how they work. So we're going to talk about that in the next video. So let's go into a bit more detail about what auto blogging actually is. Well, auto blogging is about creating a network of self-populating websites. They are websites which automatically add content, generate traffic, rank well, and earn for you. The whole auto bit stands for automatic. It's all about setting everything up on autopilot so it's automatically working for you. So you can see instantly it's a very powerful stream of income. If you can set one of these sites up in between 5 and 15 minutes, and get it running, then obviously you can create a vast number of these sites very, very quickly. And of course, they can make you a good amount of money. If you pick the right keywords and they rank really well, then you can do very, very well with auto blogs. So the aim of the game, they are all completely self-populating, running on autopilot with no manual intervention by yourself. The idea is that you're not turning up every week to add new content or change the advertising banners or anything like that at all. The whole point of auto blogging is that you are setting them up so that you never have to come back and touch them again. You're not fussed about upgrading plugins unless there's a major problem with them. You're not fussed about upgrading WordPress or anything like that. You just want them to stay there and run and earn money for you. So what you do is, using the plugins and the tools that we'll talk about throughout this video course, you can set them up so that they automatically add content at intervals specified by yourself. So you can set it to add just a couple of pieces a day or 10 pieces a day or whatever it might be. But you do need to be aware that you've got to think naturally when you do this. You've got to think about how would a normal website add new content in the real world, if you like. If it was a real blog and not an auto blog, how regularly and how often would content be added? So you do need to consider that. So what I recommend is that you add no more than a few pieces of content a day, 2, 3, 4, maybe 5 at a push. If you can, you want to do it at random times. So you may say, well, I'll do it every 5.5 hours. I'll add a piece of content every 7.5 hours, every 10 hours. You may say, well, I will add new content 3 times a day, whatever it might be. Depends on the plugin you're using as to how you can specify the intervals. And then all you need to do is do some simple traffic generation with them. It shouldn't take too long to do, simply because they're very, very highly targeted websites, so they'll rank fairly well naturally by themselves. So a bit of social bookmarking, a couple of articles, etc, etc, and you should be ranking very, very well. So basically, auto blogging is a quick way of creating a huge network of sites. So if you think about it, and I can, say it takes me 10 minutes to create an auto blog. That means I can create 6 an hour, doesn't it? So if I work 8 hours a day, 8 6s, what's that? 8, 16, 24, 32, 40, 48. I can create 48 sites a day. So in a week, times that by 5, you're talking 240 sites in a week. So you can create an awful lot of sites with these. So even if each one just earns even 50 cents a day for you, on average, you're still talking in a week you've created a daily income of $120 a day. So there's a lot of potential with these sites. And of course, once you set up the auto blogs, if you find some that are doing really, really well, there's nothing to stop you turning it into a proper authority site and expanding upon it, or generating more sites within that niche. So the key is to do your keyword research and then make sure you're ranking very, very quickly. If you've got good keywords and you've targeted them properly, then your auto blog will rank surprisingly quickly. So what can you do with these sites? Well, one of the things you can do is you can build the sites to flip. You can set it up as an auto blog, run it for a few months, get it ranking, get it earning, and then you can sell it for 6 to 10 times the earnings. So you can do very, very well. You can turn it from an auto blog into a normal blog, then disable all the auto blogging functions, you know, and leave it running and sell it. If you are selling an auto blog, you do have to make sure that what the permissions you have on any plugins you're using. If you bought any plugins, you may not be able to sell those with the website. You may have to remove them first, or insist that the buyer purchase a license. Now obviously this is a good choice, as you can create the sites and keep them, and you can earn from them regularly. So yeah, if you've built your network of 1,000 sites, you can earn from them, you know, for as long as you want to, as long as they're ranking and doing well. Or another alternative is, if you remember, how do you cook spaghetti? You cook it and then you throw it against the wall and see if it sticks. And that's one of the analogies we can use here. You basically create hundreds and hundreds of sites, throw it against the wall, see which sticks. You find the ones that are profitable and doing well, and expand into those niches. You may create other sites within those niches, other authority sites. You may create products within those niches and whatever. But it's a good way for you to test out a number of niches very quickly and determine which are going to be profitable. So it doesn't matter whether you're a novice or advanced marketer or anywhere in between. It doesn't matter if you're just setting out on your adventure into internet marketing. You can still use auto blogs. Auto blogs don't require any particular skill. It just requires patience and the ability to do some keyword research and set the sites up. So it's not too difficult to use. Now WordPress is our platform of choice, and it's completely free. I would not recommend doing a manual install because it takes far too much time. I would make sure that your web host has either Simple Scripts or Fantastico, and that you install it from there, simply because it's a lot quicker. Now if you're doing it manually, it could take you quite a while. Do it through Fantastico, it will take you 60 seconds if you type slowly. So it's not going to take you a lot of time to do. So WordPress is the platform of choice because there's so many options available with it. Now we are going to talk about some plugins in this course that are going to cost you some money, but ultimately, at the end of the day, and trust me, I've done some research here, they are absolutely the best plugins for auto blogs, and they will make sure that you make decent money from them. You can use some of the free plugins, but they do not give you the flexibility and the functionality that the paid plugins do. The paid plugins will really help you to create fantastically profitable sites very easily. So auto blogs are an easy way to create a network of profitable sites. You can create 50, 100 sites a week, maybe more. So you can see very quickly you can build up a massive amount of auto blogs. And these can earn well for you. You could build up a network of auto blogs in a particular sites, and you can use them to promote your real money sites. You could do that. You could use them as a way to get incoming links through to your sites, a way to really boost your network, other websites. So it's a fantastic level of opportunity here with auto blogs. They're really powerful tools for you to use, and ultimately you're only limited in what you can do with them with your imagination and the amount of time you're willing to spend messing around with them. So you now know what auto blogs are. You know roughly what they're going to do. You know what you could do with the auto blogs, and now we want to go into a bit more detail about the auto blogs themselves and what to look out for with them and how to start setting them up. Now auto blogs in the past have got a bit of a bad reputation because they are used in many cases by spammers. What I want to do is just show you some of the possible issues with them and how you can overcome them. Now you do have to be careful with your auto blogs that they aren't classified as spam sites. If you leave footprints, if you make all the sites identical and you use the same template and they're all just full of useless information, then they aren't going to do well in the search engines. Sooner or later the search engines will work out that you've created a load of spam sites and it will delist them all. And if that happens and it's your only source of income, basically you're screwed. You've lost everything. And don't think it won't happen. It has happened. Go and search any of the internet marketing forums and you'll hear all sorts of horror stories about how this sort of thing happens. I mean, several years ago there was what is famously known as the Google slap happened. This was, if you remember, it was about 3 or 4 years ago. If you searched for anything in Google, all you got was rubbish sites full of adverts and links to other sites. There was no useful information. Google was basically pointless. You know, you couldn't find anything good in it. And then one morning, internet marketers woke up and found that their network of these, you know, rapidly created sites that had been flung up onto the internet had disappeared. And people literally, and this is 100% serious, people went from, you know, $100,000 a month or, you know, $10,000 a month incomes to zero overnight. Their businesses were destroyed because they're just focused on creating these, you know, mass generated sites, use scrape content, and their businesses were ruined. So whilst autoblogs are good, take steps to make sure they don't get classified as spam sites, and also create other sites as well so that it's not your only stream of income. It's never a good idea in business to have all your eggs in one basket. So you need to take some steps to ensure that they're not classified as spam sites, and that's what this video is about. So when you're creating your site, if you think about your end user, think about their needs, and you create a site that basically gives them some useful information, you're going to do okay. You want to avoid being classified as a spam site because you could get your site delisted from the search engines. If that happens, then you would have to rework the website, put lots of unique content on it, and go crawling to the search engine gurus, the people that run them, and beg them to let your site go back in and that you've changed your ways. It might be a bit of a struggle, but they've got no need to let you back in. They can turn around and go, nope, not interested, and not let you in at all. Or the absolute worst case scenario, and this is one that you've got to hope doesn't happen, is you get blacklisted. And basically when this happens, it means that your domain has become useless and you may as well let it expire. There's no point in having a domain. It's not going to do well, it's never going to get ranked again, and basically the search engines will just ignore anything linking to that domain. So you want to really avoid that fate. So what you have to do is ensure that autoblogs still provide valuable information. So I know that these are going to be scrape sites and going to be taking content from other sites that are rapidly created, but you still have to think about providing valuable information. If you can do that, then obviously that's going to help you a lot. What you need to do is you need to mix up a combination of unique content, PLR content, and content scraped from sites like Amazon, article directories, Yahoo Answers, etc., etc. So you need to mix them all up really to get the best content. Making sure that you've got some unique content on there obviously takes you a step away from the spam site and will help the search engines to realize your site's valuable. My personal preference is to always make sure the homepage is unique at the very least, and that way, you know, people are going to see that it's unique content. The search engines will see that it's unique content, and hopefully, you know, there's not going to be any issues with the site. So if you want to avoid being classed as spam, you need to make sure you don't leave a footprint on all of your sites. Now, a footprint is something that is common to all of your sites, something that makes it very easy for someone to identify the fact that your site is an auto-generated site. So, you know, in the old days, you'd have software that would create a site and it would say at the top in the meta tag, created by this auto creation spamming software, which of course is dead giveaway. So you need to make sure that you don't leave a footprint, and part of what we're going to talk about now is how not to leave any footprints. So by using some unique content, you are avoiding footprints, because of course one of the footprints of a spam site is that it doesn't have any unique content. So just having a little bit of that on your site, that instantly takes you a big step away from spam sites. So a good bit of unique content will help you. One thing you can use is a uniquifier plugin. Often you have to buy these, and basically these are plugins that fool the search engines into believing that the content on your website is unique. The downside of these is, of course, that the search engine owners are well aware of them, and of course are constantly buying the new versions of the uniquifier plugins themselves, messing around with them, and then making sure that their search engines go past them. So you have to continually update uniquifier plugins. You know, you're talking sort of at least once a week, and if you've got 1,000 sites, that's quite a lot of work to update them. So a uniquifier plugin quickly becomes out of date. It can be useful, but only if it's going to be automatically updated. But again, you can get around that by using some unique content as well. So if you make sure that every page, every website has a unique meta tags, keywords and title, now you're going to have to use an all-in-one SEO plugin or Platinum SEO plugin for this, but you make sure that you have a unique set of meta tags and keywords, then again that's going to help, because a lot of spam sites, they just use the same title on every page, the same meta tags and the same meta keywords. So again, that's going to help you remove yourself from being a spam site. You also need to vary the templates and layouts. A lot of people that create spam sites just use the default WordPress template. So every site, have different layouts, different templates and so on. Again, you don't spend too long on them because these are rapidly created sites, but vary the different templates. Another thing that you can do is don't host too many auto blogs on a single hosting account. If you look at sort of 7 to 10, maybe slightly more at the tops, then again that's not going to give the game away. If Google comes along and they sort of look at your IP address and they see that there's 800 auto blogs on that one IP address, and the 800 blogs on that one IP address, and they all look very similar, that's going to give away a little about the whole it's an auto blog. So you can create multiple hosting accounts, just the one cheap ones, and create a number of auto blogs on there. You can of course use the same hosting to create a number of your other websites as well. And you want to switch hosting and IP addresses, so you have different hosts. You can buy IP addresses for a couple of dollars a month from a lot of places, so you can use different IP addresses, and that's really going to help you to vary the way your sites look. Do sort of up to about 10 per IP address, and again your sites are going to look different. They're not going to look like they are spam sites. So these are some techniques for avoiding being classed as spam. Now later on, towards the end of this video series, we're going to talk about how some tips for success with auto blogs, but I want you to take this into account, what we just talked about, as we go through creating the auto blogs and you start creating yours. Avoid leaving a footprint. Don't just use scrape content. Use some unique content. Use unique meta tags and keywords. Vary the templates, and don't host too many auto blogs on a single IP address or hosting account. And all that is going to help you to step away from spam, and it's going to mean that your site isn't going to run the risk of being classed as spam, and it will have a much longer life. Remember, you don't want to create an auto blog, get it earning, and then sort of a week later find that it's been delisted. You want to build these up so that they have a reasonably long shelf life. And obviously that's going to be much better for you and for your income. So you may want to write some of these techniques down that we just talked about, these tips, but keep them in mind when you're creating the sites. They're very important, and they're going to make sure that your auto blogs do much better than perhaps auto blogs created by other people. Yes, it may take you a few minutes longer to do these, but you're going to have the benefit of longer living sites, and that's ultimately going to create you a much better income. What I'd like to do first of all is show you how you install and configure WordPress. Now if you've got Fantastico, it will look like this. Some web hosts now have something called Simple Script, but again it's a very simple process. We're looking down here and we go to Fantastico Deluxe and we install it. It's very simple to do. You don't need any particular technical skills or anything else in order to be able to do this. So you can see here we have installation already, and you can see if you want to upgrade to the latest version, you just click that button. But we're going to do a new installation, so we click on WordPress here. Then we click here. It's not entirely obvious, but you can click here on new installation and install a new one. So I'm going to install in the subdirectory of test. I'll have a normal, just call it admin, a simple password. Then you can set your nickname, admin nickname, so it can be anything you want. This is an email address. Then you put your site name in here. It doesn't matter too much what you put here, as you can change these later on. But those are what you put in. Then you click install WordPress. You click finish installation. and then it's done. That's it. That's all you need to do, and you've installed WordPress. So now if I open this window here, if I open that in a new tab, you can see here it's all installed. So we just type in our ID and password, and that way we can log in to WordPress. Okay, so this is an installed version of WordPress. Over here you've got your control panels, and here you can see what you have on your dashboard. So simple configuration. It's very, very quick and easy. You start with posts. You trash the original post. You don't need that on there. Get rid of that. Now you go to categories as well. You're going to change the name of this. Just click quick edit and change it to something relevant to your keyword, to your niche. You may want to create additional categories. These aren't necessary, but some people find, particularly if you're targeting multiple keywords, it's worth having more than one category based on each keyword. Now I'd go into links as well. Click there and then delete all of the links that are there. You also want to edit the link categories as well. Again, change it from blog roll to something like resources or something simple. So you just put in resources, and then the same down here as well, resources in lowercase. You may want to create more than one category depending again how many links you're planning on having, but I would always recommend a link to whatever you're promoting, and possibly one or two other ones to authority sites in the niche. Then under pages, edit this and change it to something relevant again to your niche. This is the About You page. You can change the title. You can change all of this as well. So that's all we need to do here. We don't need to do anything under comments, but if we go to appearance now, this is where you install your theme, add new theme here, and you can search for new themes, install them, and so on. So you can upload ones, you can search for ones here, or you can just go to Google and do a search there. You can use the widgets to add widgets onto it. Again, it depends on how you're laying your site at as to what you use here. Plugins we'll look at in a minute. Users we can ignore. Same with tools. We don't need to worry too much about that at the moment. Now, under settings, you got some changes that you need to make here. Again, this is where you change your site name and tagline. You can let anyone register and just save the changes when you've done it. If we next go to writing, under writing again you can change all these. I'd recommend ignoring those. I'd also recommend just deleting out this information here just to be on the safe side. If you want to put any update services in there, feel free to do so. All that it does is it will ping them when there's a new post. Then we go to reading. Okay, again I'd make a few changes here. I would pick it to show a static page on the front page. I want control over what they see. The only page I've created at the moment is about, so I would create just a single page. I'd set this as my home page so that people come there and they see a good amount of information when they get there. Otherwise, they're going to see the latest post and it may not be what you want them to see. Blog pages show at most. I always set that to 1. That way it looks more like a website, less like a blog. Then we save changes. Okay, now under discussion over here, our next settings. Again, most of these you can leave as they are. The only one I'd change is this one. Always check this box, and it just means that you're not going to get any spam comments at all. And then save the changes down the bottom here. If you don't do that, then people can get comments through. What some spammers do is they'll make 1 or 2 reasonable comments, and then when they realise they're allowed to make any comments and they don't need to be approved, they'll start spamming. The next one we need to go to is permalinks. Okay, now on the permalinks side, this is how your website looks in the search engines. This is the default up here, but your domainname.com/ category slash and then the post ID. That makes no sense at all. It's terrible for SEO. Now what people may want to do is, I recommend that you always change it. Now the easiest way to do this is to do it like that, okay, and do it to the post name. You can put the category in as well. If you're using categories and your category is keyword related, you could put % category % in here as well. I tend to do quite small sites myself, so just the post name is enough, and then you save the changes, and that's all the settings you need to do. It's not complex, it's not difficult, and as you can see, it takes just a couple of minutes to do. It's really simple. Now we want to talk about some of the plugins that you're likely to use. These are the more common ones that you're going to install on pretty much every blog you do. Now back to your site, under plugins you can see it comes installed with 2. You can delete Hello Dolly, you just click delete, it will come up, yes, delete them all, and then it's gone. That's not a plugin that you really want, it doesn't do anything useful, it's just there. Now here is AKASH.URF.AK. This is one that you do want. You want to activate it and switch it on. It basically stops spam comments. It's very good. All you need to do is click here to enter your WordPress API key, and if you haven't got one, just click here and you can sign up for one. It's absolutely free. I'd recommend that you check that box too. So what we want to do now is add new. So under here we're going to add some of the plugins. So one of the first ones we want to add is all-in-one SEO. That's all you need to add. You search, there it is. We click install. I'll click install again and activate it. Now this is a very useful one. Again, let's go to the admin page. Basically it's going to help your website become more SEO friendly by managing the title, description and keywords. So enable it and then put a title, description and keyword for your main page in. The rest of it you can leave as is, you don't need to mess with those. And then update options. Then when you go to posts and add new, if we scroll down we will see that there's the all-in-one SEO pack is here. So here you can put a title, description and keywords specifically for that page, and that's going to help you significantly with your SEO. So if we go back to add new, you'll want, if we type all-in-one, shut up! So what we're looking for here is we want to type in all-in-one AdSense. This is basically a good plugin for managing your AdSense adverts. All-in-one AdSense and YPNs are what we're looking for, and we just install and install again. And what this will do is this will automatically put AdSense or YPN, Yahoo Publishing Network adverts, into your posts. So it's a fantastic way of monetizing your blog automatically. So under here, I'm sorry, AdSense, settings, AdSense, and here we have it. Make sure you put your AdSense ID in here. Just put the numbers only. Select the type of advert you want, text, image or whatever. The sizes you want. Here you can blend it in with your site. How many ads to show per page. So remember, you can only show a maximum of 3. So if you've got them elsewhere, like in your sidebar, you may want to lose that down. How many you want to place in the post, and where do you want to put it in the post. So there's plenty of options there on that. So this is a very useful plugin, and it will automatically add AdSense in wherever you want. So fantastic tool to use. Next one we want is one called, if we type in WP Backup, this is very important. This one here is the one we're after. Install again, and basically what this will do, if we activate this, is it will back up your WordPress database for you. So under Tools, you can see we have a backup option. And what I would recommend is you go to Gmail, you set yourself up a new account, and then you set the schedule backup, and then send it to a Gmail account somewhere. So set them all to go to a Gmail account and back up any of the extra tables here. And what this will do is this will make sure that, yeah, if something happens and a web host goes down or something, you haven't lost everything. You've got all of your database, so you can just restore the WordPress, restore the plugins that you've installed, the theme, and then you've got your database back with all your posts, so you haven't lost everything. So that's very, very important. And the final one that I recommend to use is Google XML sitemaps. There's plenty of others that you could use. There's translation and all sorts that you could use if you wanted to, but it depends on what you're aiming for with your auto blog. One of the translation tools would be very useful if you're aiming for an international market, but Google XML sitemaps is particularly useful because what it does is, you can see here, it creates an XML sitemap and then it will submit it to Google, Bing, Yahoo and Ask. So basically it's going to get your website crawled, and it's going to also notify the major search engines every time you create a post. So you just install, and then we just activate the plugin. Once it's activated, as you can see there, we go to Settings and we go to XML sitemap, and basically this is a good plugin to have. You can notify Yahoo if you're going to apply for an application ID. I wouldn't mess with anything else particularly here. One thing you can change is you can change some of these if you want to, but personally I'd pretty much leave all of them as is. So again, I'd leave that as it is. These are obviously well thought out, and you can see there's nothing else that massively needs changing. So you can see that what this will do is it will automatically submit the XML sitemap to these search engines for you. So it's a great way to get the search engines to your site and notify them of updates. So it's very, very useful. You can click here to build it the first time. I would recommend doing this after you made a couple of posts if it hasn't already built one. Some web hosts will have a problem with this, and you just got to manually create the files and upload them and change the permissions. But those are the plugins that you want to use. There's plenty of others that you could use. You know, as I said, there's translation software, there's all tool plugins to make everything look pretty. You can integrate with Twitter, YouTube, etc., etc. But you know, you will find which plugins you want to use and which ones you don't, and it may depend upon the niches, but those are some that are basically standard that you'll need. So what I wanted to show you very quickly is about posts. Now, if we go to posts and add new, WordPress does have a feature that allows you to schedule future posts. So it's almost like auto blogging within WordPress. It's a very basic form of it. So it's a very good way of using it. If you're going to use this, then you need to go and download a plugin called CB Ping Optimizer. Let me just write that in there. CB Ping Optimizer. Now, this is good because what it does is it helps make the whole ping process a little bit better. So it'll help with what we're going to show you. So under Publish Immediately, if you click Edit, you can see here you can change the date and time. So what you can do is you can load up content for the next sort of 2-3 weeks with this. So you can upload like PLR articles and other things like that. Articles you've written, content from other sites, and upload it and just change the date and time on it. It's a manual way of doing it. It is time consuming, but it will work for you. So if I put 15 in there, you can see now it's saying it's scheduled to go at this time. You click schedule instead of publish. So that's a very, very basic form of auto blogging. What we're going to show you next is some more powerful tools that will really, really help you to take the auto blogging to the next level and make some good money from it.